Right, so I wanted to talk to you today about the difference, what I believe the difference is between making a sound decision and making a decision based entirely out of fear. So I took my bike out today. For those of you that have been following, you know I had kind of an injury, broke my collarbone, and this is my first time back on the bike since I did it. It's been about 9 days. 9 days ago I did, I think Tuesday before last. I've done a little bit of running. If you've been paying attention, you saw that I've been doing a little bit of running, but I decided I wanted to take the bike back out. So I got it, I pushed it outside, I got on the bike, I started pedaling, I got to the first stop sign, maybe 200, 300 feet away. And I had a car pass me. It didn't take more than 200 feet to have my first car pass me. And I'll tell you, literally I just cringed. I mean, I stopped just short of panicking when that first car passed me. And it was at that point, I had a very crucial decision that I had to make. Should I keep going? I think probably conventional wisdom would say I shouldn't have been doing it in the first place. The doctors told me it would be anywhere from 6 to 8 weeks before I would be fit enough to do something like ride a bike again. And I certainly didn't go out and do a 15 mile per hour ride or gravel or trails or anything like that. It was timid at best. But at any rate, I had a point. I should say I had a decision I had to make. It was only 300 feet away at the first stop sign, and I was ready to call it. And I said conventional wisdom would suggest I shouldn't have been doing it at all, but at any rate, I was doing it. So I had a decision to make. I could turn around and come back. And again, my mind started telling me, yes, absolutely, that's the best thing to do. You don't have any business being out here. It's too early. It's too soon. There's too many cars, wrong time of day. And all of that may or may not have been true. I don't think so, but that's what my mind was telling me. But I decided to keep going. And I'll tell you why I decided to keep going. Because even though there may have been some logical reasons to terminate the ride, had I have done it at that point, had I have terminated the ride 300 feet into it, I wouldn't have been using any of those reasons to terminate the ride. I would have been solely doing it out of fear. At that point, a car passed me, my body tensed up, I literally just started puckering, breaking into a sweat. It was just shy of a panic attack. And I told myself that is the wrong reason not to be doing this. Even if I'm doing the wrong thing, it's entirely possible that I had no business being out there. That's debatable. But as far as this video goes, it's neither here nor there. Okay, maybe I shouldn't have been doing it, but I was doing it. So I had a choice to make. Am I going to end it because I'm scared or not? So I stopped at the stop sign. I put both feet on the ground. I thought about it a minute. I kind of wiped away the bead of sweat. I was panicking just because I had a car pass me. And I decided not to. I put my feet back on the pedals. I stood up. I started pedaling. And I did a local ride through the neighborhood. I think it was 4, maybe 5 miles. I messed up my Strava. Somehow I turned it off about 300 feet into the ride. I presume, because I've run this route many times, it was somewhere between 4.5 and 5 miles through the local neighborhood. So I started on my merry way. And about 2.5, maybe 3 miles later, my arm did start aching. That's just a bad position. You know, obviously I've got it slung on a bicycle, and I've got pretty deep, wide riser bars. So on a bicycle, my arms are out in a position that really wasn't benefiting my healing at all. Added to which, it occurred to me that if I did fall again, regardless of how slow I was going, and again, I'd have to check Strava, but I think it was 9.5, 10 miles per hour. It really wasn't very fast. But at any speed, another fall on this shoulder was literally going to be catastrophic. So at that point, I decided to turn it around and slowly bring the bike back home, put it in the room, call it good. But at least in my mind, my interpretation of these events is that was a sound decision. I was hurting my arm by being out there. And then I don't mean it was aching. It's always aching. It's been aching for 9 days. But it was in a bad position. I think I was probably moving this bone or putting a little bit too much tension on this bone, more than I should have, with my hand stretched out anywhere, 2.5, 3 feet in front of me. I don't think that was I don't think that was a position that was conducive to my healing at all. And the simple reality is, if I fell on this shoulder again, it would be catastrophic. You know, missing 5 days of work would be the least of my problem. I would miss 3 months of work. So I did make a sound decision. But it was based on what I believe to be accurate facts. I'm not in a good position right now, and I'm going to do way more damage if I fall off this bike. That was a sound decision. What I didn't do is get scared out of my ride when that car passed me at the stop sign 300 feet from my house. And I'm feeling good about that. Two things really. Number one, I'm feeling good that I am capable of making a sound decision and acting on it, bringing the bike back and terminating something that was probably costing me more than I was gaining. I believe that was a sound decision. But secondly, it was not the first decision that I was going to make based entirely out of fear. And I think that one would have been a lot harder to live with. So, you know, a lot of us, me in particular, I believe, probably some of you can relate to this, we make decisions all the time, and we declare that this is a practical decision. When in reality, you're making that decision based out of fear. You're just disguising it as practicality. You don't want to, oh, well, I got scared. I was scared shitless. I came home. Well, that doesn't resonate well with anybody. Oh, well, I made a practical decision and I came home. So I had an opportunity to choose between the two in a relatively short amount of time, within 10 minutes of each other. And I feel positive, I should say, confident, I think, that when it came time to actually make a practical, sound decision, I made it. But when I had an opportunity to make a decision based entirely out of fear and call it a practical decision, I made the choice not to be afraid. I went ahead and did it. So, in that 2 minutes, 2 seconds, whatever it took, after that car scared me to actually stomp on the pedal again and start moving again, I think I had kind of a moment. There was a moment there. It was there. I realized it. I took a minute to appreciate it. I took another 20, 30 minutes to think about it. But at any rate, that was it. That's kind of what I wanted to talk about. Making your decisions based on legitimate practicality, making sound decisions based on a good analysis of the data you have at that moment in time, versus just making a decision based entirely out of fear. And that's what it was going to be. If I stopped that ride 200 feet away, it was going to be based entirely out of fear. 2 miles later, having a chance to actually examine the entire situation, I did determine that this isn't good. That this position, holding the handlebars, the risk of taking another fall this early in my healing, the data was there to legitimately make a decision that this isn't good. But I'm really happy that I didn't make the decision based out of fear. And I think we all do. Jim Carrey once said, when he was given an address to a graduating class, some college, he had been brought on as a guest speaker, he made a very popular comment. It's a viral video on the internet. It's not too hard to find, where he said, we live our lives making decisions based out of fear disguised as practicality. And I feel like I just had one of those moments. And I think I feel good about the decision I made. Number one, I feel good about the decision in the ride, why I ended it, not when I ended it. I'm glad I didn't end it the first time I got scared, because that would be that wouldn't resonate well with me at all. So, at any rate, I wanted to talk about it because I believe it's not just me. I believe everybody, all of us. And I think some of us are probably so good at it at this point in our lives, we don't even recognize that we're doing it. We just call all of our decisions practical. When again, I was able to make a practical decision, a very sound decision, I think, for my healing, economically. If I fall on this thing again, I'm going to miss 3 months of work. I can't afford that. So I brought the bike home. But I didn't make the decision based out of fear. And I believe some of us have been doing it for so long that we just summarily dismiss every decision we make as being made out of practicality. When in fact, I don't believe that that's always the case. I believe a lot I don't want to say most, more often than not, our decisions are based on fear. And that's how we're making it. So I just wanted to talk about that. I got something out of it. I think if you're listening to this, there's a good possibility you're going to get something out of it. I bet you can spend 5-10 minutes reflecting on some of the decisions you've made, recently. And if you really do a good audit of the entire scenario leading up to the decision you made, whatever it was, to start or end, go longer or stop, whatever it is you decided to do, I bet if you do an audit of that entire scenario, it's not going to be hard for you to realize, especially looking back, that maybe the decision was made a little more so out of fear than you were willing to acknowledge at the time. So that's why I want to talk about it. I think there's some value in that. If you think about that, I bet I've said something in the past 5 or 6 minutes that you can relate to. As far as the bike riding, I think probably I'm going to hold off on that for another couple weeks. I don't think that was a good idea, looking back. I mean, I'm glad I did. I had a moment. I like to keep myself open to all experiences. I mean, you never know which experience the growth is going to come from. So I really try not to block out any experiences. And I just had one and I got something out of it, and I'm passing it on to you. I think maybe you'll get something out of it. But I think probably not again, not for a couple weeks. If nothing else, even if I do begin to develop a good range of motion, I just think another fall on this shoulder that soon would just be devastating. It'd be devastating to me. It would be painful. I think it would put an undue burden on Trina. She was able to cover for me missing 4 or 5 days of work. I don't think it would be fair to ask her to cover for another 3 months because I decided to get macho. So that's the decision I've made on that. I'm probably not going to ride the bike again for a couple weeks. I don't see that happening in my future. I went out and tried it. The doctor said 6 to 8 weeks. I'm not a proponent necessarily of breaking laws, but I certainly break the rules. Okay? I gave it a try. And again, I've already expressed what my decision is on that. So I just wanted to, let you know. I had a moment. I kept myself open to it. I had a moment and I got something out of it. Hopefully you'll get something out of it too. I think there is something there to be gleaned from what just happened to me. I do believe it will apply to your life as well. So if there's something there for you, take it, analyze it. Maybe I said something that will benefit you. Anyway, I'm going to go. I'm going to start trying to put more videos up. I would like to put more content on my YouTube channel. I've had a YouTube channel now for about a week, maybe 7 or 8 days, 9 days at the most. In fact, I might have started it before the accident, so it could be 2 weeks old. Pop over to it. I plan on putting at least something up every day. Ideally, that's what I'd like to do. I would certainly like for you to watch the video. I would appreciate it if you would comment, good or bad. I'm new at this, so any audits you can do on this video, any notes you have to offer, I would appreciate it. I would appreciate it if you subscribe. You just never know. Like I said, I'm subscribed to hundreds of YouTube channels. I never know when somebody's going to have something to say that will benefit me. So I keep myself open to it, all right? It's not impossible that I'll have something to say that might benefit you. So keep yourself open to that possibility. Go over to my YouTube channel, make comments. I want to know, good, bad, indifferent, how I'm doing. Subscribe to the channel. There might just be some nugget out there that you can make use out of. All right, guys, till the next time.